Hey everyone, I hope you had a happy Thanksgiving. So, I wanted to take a moment to go over the research paper rubric for your final draft, just so you know what the criteria is to get your best possible score. So, I'm looking at the rubric that was in hold on, I just opened it, but let me check, week 8. So week 8 is where you will find that rubric. It was the same one that you used to create your rough draft. Um, and there's also that PowerPoint that was in that week that you're able to access, as you're doing your revisions on your paper. So I encourage you, please use the feedback that you got from myself or from your peers if you received any in the wiki, and use that as you are creating your final draft and, making your final revisions to that project. So I'm going to go over the rubric, and I'm just going to move back up here to the top. I'm going to go over all of the categories that are going to get you the best possible points and the most possible points so you can get a good grade on this assignment. So the first thing is focus and thesis statement. So it says, has a persuasive thesis, clearly defined and supported, outlines main points to be discussed. So what that means is that you have a strong introduction, something that uses, an attention getter. Also, you have a thesis. So your thesis is your statement that describes what your paper is going to be about and what your opinion is on the topic. And what main points you're going to discuss throughout your paper. So that should be present in your first couple of paragraphs. And I know as I was going through and writing some comments on rough drafts, it's always one of my main comments is to make sure that you have your thesis present closer to the beginning of your paper, because you don't want to be talking for several paragraphs and not have your reader know what your main focus is. So make sure that shows up, if not in paragraph 1, in paragraph 2. Okay, so that's the first category. The next category is critical thinking. So I'm going to read you the description. It says, student develops persuasive argument on chosen topic using 3 or more points to support his or her opinion. Tone is unbiased, and student deals with possible objections to argument effectively. So this is at the heart of the they say, I say kind of commentary. So when you are presenting what they say, making sure that you're continuing to comment on the research that you found from different experts and in different articles that you use. It says 3 or more points to support your opinion. And I know the research papers that I were reading were on track to do that. So make sure that you focus on that you're not just focusing on one side of the argument. And that's what we're saying when we say tone is unbiased. So obviously, your own personal opinion in some ways is going to come out in using your voice in the paper. However, it's always important to show the other side of that argument. Okay, the next category is organization. It says student organizes points logically, ordering paragraphs to maximum effectiveness. A variety of thoughtful transitions are used, clearly showing how ideas are connected. So you're not ending one paragraph and just jumping right into the next. So there should be some kind of transition statement or, some way that you show the connection between different points throughout your paper. Okay, the next one is evidence, and this is very, very important. So it says includes 1 or more quotes, and I'm going to say this quotes or paraphrases from each of 4 to 5 secondary sources that support the thesis. So you should have 4 already from your article citations and summaries that you've done. You should easily have 4 articles that you're going to be using throughout your paper. And you want to make sure that all of those are cited properly at the end of your paper in your works cited, so that way when you cite them in text, you have them in there correctly. So one thing to note that I noticed on a few papers that I was grading is putting the author's first name or the name of the article, which is okay if there's no author. But if there's an author, the author's last name should go first. So last name first in the works cited, and then last name in the in-text citation or the parenthetical citation. So just keep that in mind. If there's an author, you're always going to be using their last name. Okay, the next thing, explanation of evidence. Each quote or paraphrase is introduced, and we practice doing that, and most of you are doing a really great job at introducing your quote by saying according to, or in other words, or in the opinion of, using all those transitional statements to introduce your quote, or introductory statements rather, and then either putting your quote in quotations, or, paraphrasing, citing it, but then not ending there. So it's not enough just to put your evidence in there. Remember, you need to comment on your evidence. So anytime you put a piece in that is someone else's opinion, that what they say, you want to make sure you have the I say. Sources, it says student use 4 to 5 sources, all of which are scholarly. So you should be making sure that you're steering away from those things that are like personal blogs, personal websites, and focusing on reputable sources, such as the articles that you might have found through the library databases or through Google Scholar, or through reputable websites. Okay, the next category is references. Information is cited according to MLA format with both parenthetical references and works cited page with no errors. So if you have something in your works cited page, let's say you have 5 sources in your works cited page, you should have all 5 cited in text, in parentheses, in your paper. If you don't, you need to take it out if you're not planning on using it, or you need to add the research to your paper to make sure that what's shown in your paper reflects what's in your works cited page. Okay, grammar and spelling. Students make 1 to 2 errors in grammar or spelling that distract the reader from the content. So you have a couple of opportunities for error there in spelling and grammar check. Read through your own paper. Find somebody in your family or a friend that can read over it for you before you turn it in. So I try to pick out, some different things throughout the paper that I notice are happening. It's your job on that final draft to read through, figure out what you're missing, figure out what you need, and fix those things. Also, use spell check. So any word processing program that you choose to use, no matter what it is, will have a spell check that you're able to use, so that you can tell if you have those errors. Make sure that you fix them. Okay, the next category is conclusion. The conclusion is strong and leaves the reader with a clear understanding of the student's position without restating the thesis word for word. So you're basically providing a strong conclusion that summarizes your paper, that hits your main points, and that doesn't use the same exact wording as your first paragraph or your thesis. And then the last one, it just says other assignment requirements. It says essay should be 1,250 to 1,500 words in length. It can be double spaced, and there are no presentation or formatting errors. So I'll also, under this category, includes MLA formatting with your heading, your MLA page numbers that go at the top of each page, your citations, your works cited page. So all of those things should be, spot on for your final draft. And that's about it. So if you're worried about the word count, do not go through. You don't have to go through and count, every word. If you have a word processing program, you should be able to do word count. If you're unable to do that, it's okay. It should be 4 to 5 pages in length, not including your works cited. So 4 to 5 pages, not including your works cited page. And that's the last requirement. So that's me going over I'm going over all of the requirements for the above standard points, whatever is going to get you the most points on this paper, which I expect and I know that all of you can do, because you've done a great job on turning in your rough drafts and giving yourself a good start and turning in those article summaries. So if you have any questions as you're writing or as you're finishing up, or anything you want me to look at, please just let me know, and I'd be happy to talk with you about it. But good luck on your final assignment for the course, and I hope you have a good week.